What is going on, my friends? Recently, we got some 2K26 news and information in regards to the gameplay. Finally, really been waiting to see what they were going to do, see what they were going to say. And to be honest, they kind of delivered. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to get too excited when I talk about the things I talk about in today's video because, we got to take things with a grain of salt. They still have to execute these things, They say green or miss, they have to execute it. So that's just one example, but we'll get right into it. So let's stop yapping just to yap. And let's actually start yapping about some of this new information that we got. I know you guys have already been watching a ton of videos the last couple days talking about the gameplay, so no different in today's video. I'm just going to be real. I'm not going to get too excited. Starting with the green or miss shot timing, this is what it should be. We don't need RNG in 2K26. We just dealt with RNG in 2K25, and it was a pain in the behind. So that had to go. Real player percentage on layups is no longer a thing. Everyone's going to have to green, their layups, their close shots in 2K26. One of the biggest things I griped about was that. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely was someone that used real player percentage. I don't know anyone that really used, high risk reward timing with their layups because, like I've said before, you were hitting weaks, moderates, sometimes tights, just going up and being silly and dumb. So that needed to be changed. That needed to be fixed. But the green or miss is definitely something that we need to really see what it's like once we get our hands on the game. They claim that this is going to be the first year that there is no RNG. We've had RNG in the past in your favorite 2Ks apparently, just like we did in 2K25. So I'm curious to see if that's really going to stay true. And if that is true, how long is that going to happen? Because you know that people will complain about shooting being hard for whatever reason. But, you got to perfect your shot. Let's be real. Something that they're adding to shooting mechanics this year, which I think is very interesting. I made a video on the channel months ago about how to be a better shooter, and it involves something very similar to this. But they're calling it the no-dip catch and shoots. This is very prominent in today's NBA. Some of the best catch-and-shoot players, Klay Thompson, Duncan Robinson, Malik Beasley, some of the people that, aren't that prominent in the game. Obviously, Klay Thompson is a Hall of Famer, but these catch-and-shoot guys are getting more and more fancy with their catch-and-shoot abilities. And it starts with them just catching it from their chest and going straight up to the shot. So in this instance, hold the left trigger when receiving a pass while standing still to square up, catch the pass high, and seamlessly transition directly into your shooting motion in rhythm to get the shot up quickly. If you want to read the rest of that, you can read that, but they make reference to Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, some of the shooters that I just named. They do the same thing. This is very prominent, kind of like the slow step that you see a lot of players doing now in the paint. A lot of these catch and shoot guys, like I said, they're doing crazy catch and shoots that start in the middle of their body. There's no dip, and they go straight up. I talked about this in a video like I was saying. I didn't finish what I was saying, but I've always held trigger to square my feet to the basket. Never got that, obviously never got a no dip catch and shoot animation, but that's going to be a nice transition into that for someone like me. Hopefully you guys watch that video and practice that. Very, very, very simple. Once you feel like you got some space away from your defender off the ball, just hold the trigger button and you're now you're going to get a no dip catch and shoot. So, they also revamped the rhythm shooting. I feel like that's what's really going to be broken is the no dip catch and shoots with rhythm shooting. But for the most part, when it comes to green or miss, I feel like we did rhythm shooting this past year because, the button shooting was RNG filled, if I'm not mistaken. But when it came to rhythm shooting, it didn't seem like the RNG was that bad. So to me, I'm not going to rhythm shoot at all this year. If it's green or miss, I'm going to get used to that button unless I make like a stretch 5. But, there's no reason for me to really go in depth with the what am I trying to say? With the rhythm shooting, to be honest with you. Something else offense related, custom layup packages. Kind of crazy that none of us really thought that this was, something that they needed to add, but it's definitely pretty interesting. This is the write-up that they did about it. You can now add different normal and reverse layups, floaters, quick scoops, euro steps, hop steps, spin layups. And this is what the menu kind of looks like. There's normal layups, floater layups, quick scoops. So, now you're going to be able to have, a Steph Curry floater and then a LeBron James normal layup or whatever the case may be. I think that's very cool. This all depends on how good layups are actually going to be in 2K26. So this is kind of one of the things that we got to take with a grain of salt. is this going to be good? If it is made correctly and in the way that, they're kind of promoting it right now, layups are going to have to be really good. They're going to have to be pretty broken, especially if you're going to be able to, if everyone's going to be able to just time their layups by themselves. There's not going to be any real player percentage. They really have to execute this ability to put all these different layups together. You used to just have to put on LeBron James layup, and whatever came with that came with it. You got this floater, that scoop, this Euro. So this could be really broken. It could be very interesting to see if this doesn't pan out. How broken will layups be? We won't know until, we get our hands on the game. That's kind of what I've been saying. But definitely something that is pretty cool that they added, and we'll keep our eyes on it once it gets going. They also added this new quick protect feature. Ball handlers can now tap the left trigger to initiate quick protect movements to shield the ball and evade steals. If you guys want to keep reading that, you can keep reading that. But, they're doing a lot of special things with this left trigger. At first, it was no dip catch and shoots, which I think is awesome. And then now you got a quick protect. So pretty much if you post up with the ball as a guard, you're going to quick protect it. So sure, not something that I think is going to be broken. But again, we don't know how good it's going to be until we get our hands on the game. Also on offense, they added something with screens. Or no, excuse me. Let's go to revamped signature size up. This is definitely something that I think goes in hand with the taller guards. Revamped signature size ups. The signature size up that guards had this year was Darius Garland, if I'm not mistaken, and that definitely was broken. So I don't think they revamped that. I think they're revamping signature size up for these bigger guard builds. So signature size up controls have been improved for a more intuitive experience. Now you can rock the pro stick back and forth, left and right, or repeatedly flick the pro stick up to execute two different size up combinations. I'm gonna be honest, I don't fully know what that means off the top of the dome. Not very smart, but I do know that, again, this is not going to be something that I'm going to get too excited about until the game fully comes out. Slow motion Euro steps. This is kind of what I was just talking about with the slow step. I honestly don't think this is going to be very good. If I see someone slow stepping in the paint, it's going to be very easy to block. So, you see someone take a slow 1, 2, I'm timing that up as a center. I'm timing that up as a lock. So you can read that if you want right there. Pause the video and read it, but I wouldn't get too excited about that in my humble opinion. Setting screens, I was just talking about, and then I cut myself off, but screeners can now control which way you want to face. Tapping the left stick slightly left or right from the direction you are currently screening will turn your player 45 degrees, and tapping the left stick in the opposite direction will turn your player 180 degrees. This will help high IQ bigs who can help get your ball handlers open to stand out. As a guard in Pro-Am for most of this year, the fact that my center now, who's a very solid center, can direct which way he's going to screen might make me want to be a point guard again in 2K26 Pro-Am. But, this is something that you don't really think needs to be added, but, common sense will just tell you, hey, if I'm setting a screen, I should be able to have to, just flick my stick one way or the other, and I can turn the direction of my screen. Makes a lot of sense. Definitely glad that they added it. They made alley-oops a lot harder. Catching an alley-oop now requires more skill. I already thought it was kind of difficult, to be honest with you. Not too difficult, but difficult enough where, you had to really be locked in on your lobs. But it sounds like it's going to be even harder. Once the pass is thrown, the finish button for the receiver will be randomized on higher difficulties to one of the 4 face buttons on your controller instead of always being square/X. So you're going to go up for a lob, and you might have to hold triangle. You might have to hold circle. You might have to hold B, A, X. I mean, alley-oops are going to be crazy. I already didn't throw any alley-oops, but now I don't see myself throwing any alley-oops. This is going to be a different way of finishing. They're always doing something crazy with the finishing, and, this year it's custom layup packages and alley-oops. For the most part, that's everything offense related. Let me know in the comments if there was something I missed, and which aspect to offense are you most excited about. Let's get to defense now. Wait, I missed one for offense. This is one of the things I was most excited about. Wrap passes. Wrap passes now have a dedicated control by double tapping circle or B. This was something that I thought needed to be fixed sooner, in 2K25. Being a Pro-Am guard, the fact that I had a 92 pass accuracy, Tyrese Halliburton pass style, the best pass style in the game, and I was just throwing it off of defenders' elbows was awful. From experience, this was awful. Obviously, I think you guys can all say the same thing about this mechanic in 2K25, but the fact that I was standing still, and if you had hands-up defense, every single time I was going to throw an overhead pass was frustrating. So, rat passes, definitely going to abuse that. I don't think I'll throw anything other than a rat pass in 2K26. So, again, we'll see how that actually plays in 2K26, but for right now, that was probably the thing that I was most excited about. I can't believe I almost missed it, but we're trying to get this video done in one take. Defense. Let me see if there was anything on defense that I wanted to talk about. The new rebound timing feedback. I guess you're going to see now if you greened a rebound, I guess you're going to see you're going to get feedback on whether or not you timed your jump for a rebound correctly. I think this has always been a thing in 2K. I think this is just the first time that you're actually going to be able to see and be given feedback on your rebound. So now you'll know for sure if you got a bad jump on a rebound. Don't think it's going to matter a whole lot. I don't think this is going to change anything. You just are getting more feedback on your rebounds. So there's no reason to think that you're greening rebounds all of a sudden, in my opinion. Body up in collisions. 2K26 uses system-driven technology to generate player-to-player collisions that are more reliable compared to previously scripted motion-captured animations. So I guess there's a whole technology-driven system now instead of just animations. So, I always sucked at lock. I actually made a lock this year that was 6'6", and I never showed you guys gameplay because I was getting cooked every single time I was using it because I sucked at lock. So, maybe Bobby Locke makes a revival. I don't want to say a comeback because we never really showcased that in 2K25. But maybe now I'm interested in being a two-way player. If I'm gonna be a shooting guard in 2K26 Pro-Am, which I hope I am, this is gonna be something that I'm gonna have to pay attention to because I'm gonna have to guard the other team's shooting guard. So it's always good that they're making defense a little bit better because I do think that as a 6'6" lock this year, I felt a little lackadaisical with my movement at times compared to the 6'4". Interior defense has been redesigned so that it's easier to get strong body bumps in the air when contesting finishers at the rim. They didn't really talk anything about dunking, but as far as I know, the dunk meter is going to be back and it's going to be better and revamped based off what they said previously, but there wasn't a lot said about dunking in this whole gameplay as far as I know. Let me know in the comments below if I am incorrect, but interior defense has been booty butt for the last 2 years. I said in my elite value video that you didn't need to go above an 82 interior. That was plenty. 88 was broken, but you weren't getting great animations necessarily with 93 interior. So it was kind of worthless to go above and beyond in that category. So maybe this year they make it just a little bit better. But, I try my best to keep it real with you guys. I'm not going to get too excited about anything. The only thing I'm really, really excited about is definitely the rat passes. And obviously the green or miss is definitely an absolute W for 2K26. But the rat passes is something that I'm probably the most excited about with this new information that we got. Let me know in the comments below if there was anything I missed. I try to keep this video as short as I possibly could. But we're going to grind 2K26 like we did 2K25. You guys have been showing a ton of love and support to the channel. So thank you very much for that. Sub up if you are new, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye. Peace.